What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to the final episode of this series, our Celta Vigo career mode. I did put a poll up on the last episode after we played our Champions League final and won it, asking you guys whether or not we should continue on for another year or begin a new career mode on the channel. So after looking at the poll results, you guys voted for a new career mode to come to the channel, so unfortunately this series will be ending. I know there was 20-something% of you that said you wanted to see another season of this series, but don't worry. The next career mode is still going to be, hopefully, as entertaining as this one, and a bit more of a challenge. I'll go into the details of it later on in the episode, because you guys, at the end of the day, will choose my next team for career mode. I'll talk about that in a few little bit, but we're going to jump into this episode. We're going to take a look at how we performed in terms of overall for this series, and also what happened this season, all the good parts, the signings, how our team looks, and everything like that. So we should begin then with the My Career section. This will tell you everything you need to know as a manager, how much you won, how much you lost, what you did, and all that good stuff. So, we're going to begin with our first season in management, which was this season. We came into Celta Vigo. I had this ambition to make them the best team in Spain, and arguably we have done that. So, our first season, we began, and we actually managed to finish, I do believe, in second place, only behind Barcelona. So, our finishes in La Liga this season, well, in the series, I should say, second, first. So we've pretty much done a really, really good job. We also managed to reach the round of 32 in the Copa de España, but we ended up going out of it, and it wasn't exactly ideal. And it's interesting this first season, actually, because we played 45 games, won 27 of them, drew 9 and lost 9, scoring 77 goals and conceding 42. As the series went on, we just seemed to be able to score, multitude of goals. We were so fluid and so brilliant going forward. We just lacked that defensive edge, and that was a problem. If you look at the record transfer fee paid, though, Santi Mina joined the club for 15.9 million in the January of our first season. We also sold Guidetti, I think, to Liverpool for 13.5. So, yeah, we spent a bit more than we sold, but that was interesting because that was our major first signing of the first season, Santi Mina. And of course, if you remember what happened in the series, things heated up regarding Santi Mina. So, the end of the first season, we'd had a good basis to build on, finished second in the league. We got into the Champions League for the first time. We reached the round of 32, and we had a decent side to work with at Celta Vigo. But then, we moved into Season 2. And then in Season 2, we really did what we had to do. So, as you can see, the Champions League, we reached the quarterfinals. We were agonisingly knocked out of the quarterfinals by Manchester United, which led me to have this sort of bitter rivalry with them, I guess you could say, because when that game ended, we weren't happy. We felt that we deserved to get through. Do you know what I mean? Like, we felt we were the better side over the two legs. But, of course, it wasn't meant to be. Man United knocked us out. That was the way it went. Copa de España, we were playing in the round of 16. I think this was the season where we got knocked out by Atletico in that unbelievable game, the double leg that we played against them. It was truly sensational. I don't actually know how on earth we didn't get through there. But look at that. The most important thing, La Liga Santander, winner. We won the league for the first time in a series, finishing first, playing 55 games in the process, winning 36, drawing 12, and losing only 7. When you compare it to the first season, we lost 9. But yet we played 10 more games this season and only lost, well, we lost 2 less, basically. And so we scored 110 goals in our second season. I'm pretty sure we would have got close or beaten that in the third season at the club. That's what I'm thinking anyways. Conceding 50 along the way. But the more important thing about it is, of course, that record transfer fee. Santi Mina left the club in a deal to join Borussia Dortmund for £70 million, which was ridiculous at the time. You guys saw I went nuts. I couldn't believe it. I genuinely was shocked. So with that money, we had 5 hours left in the window. We decided to go with Nabil Fekir, who had a somewhat inconsistent career in my short time here at Celta Vigo. We'll talk about that in a few moments' time. But of course, for a second season, I did what I wanted to do. We won La Liga, and we gave a good account of ourselves in the Champions League. And as you guys know, I was never really bothered about the Copa de España. It wasn't something that really bothered me, so I didn't really tend to give it all I had. But we still tried, and we failed, pretty much. Now, third season is where everything gets interesting, of course. This is the season that you guys have just seen in terms of the series. We won a treble. We won the Champions League, the Supercopa, the La Liga, and also, again, reached the quarterfinals of the Copa de España. And again, falling short in that front. We didn't pick up Manager of the Month. I'm sure we might pick up Manager here at the end of the year, potentially. This season was a bit more quiet in terms of the transfers, though. Record fee for Ruben Blanco being £50 million. Of course, we paid 49.7 for Marcus Rashford this season as well, who played an important part. And again, if we look at the overall play, 64 games, but look at the goals scored. 149 goals scored. So, take a look at that. It's 39 more than the second season we played, and almost 100 more than the first season. So we ran away with goal scoring this season. It was crazy to say the least. We only lost 3 games the entire season. 3, which is ridiculous. 49 wins, 12 draws. As I said, that 149 goals scored is a career best so far in the series. We played a lot more games because we went further. We also had Champions League games to think about as well, so there was that. And in terms of a third season, we did pretty much everything I wanted us to do. So that's why I've decided that this series now will come to an end. Also, to note as well, when we start the new career mode, I then am going to go on to other things. So if I start it in the Bundesliga, for example, that's not where we're going to end up because I am going to leave clubs halfway through. We'll talk about that as well later on. In terms of our overall performance in our 3 seasons we spent here, though, 2 league title wins, 1 Continental Cup, which of course is that 1 Champions League we have just recently won. Our biggest win overall was a 6-0 win against Deportivo, coming way back in the first series or season. So that's sorry, I always get season and series messed up because I, say that many words on a regular basis. I'm just one of those people that just doesn't shut up. So Deportivo, I remember that game. We played unbelievably well. Our biggest defeat, though, also coming in season 1, 3-0 against Sevilla, who since then they beat us in the first season twice. And after that, I don't think they've beaten us again since. So we did the job we needed to do. Record transfer fee paid, 55 million. Of course, the record transfer fee received currently sits at 70 million pounds, which was for Santi Mina. Total earnings, 9.6 million, with an overall record of 164 games played, 112 wins, 33 draws, 19 defeats, 336 goals scored, and 141 conceded. So not a lot you can do to better that. And, yeah, it was a really, really good 3 years. So I thought now we'd take the time to potentially look around and see some former players, i.e. Santi Mina, see what he's currently up to, see what's going on. So let's start with Santi Mina then. Is he still a Borussia Dortmund player? I think I had him in here. I no longer do. So we're going to take a look at him. I'll search him up and we'll take a look at what he's currently up to. And then we'll take a look at our current team as well, for that matter. So let's have a look at Santi Mina then. And we'll look at Ruben Blanco as well while we're at it. So Santi Mina, what's he saying nowadays? Where is he? He's still at Borussia Dortmund. He's an 85 rated player at this current time. He's got some good stats. 88 finishing. You know, he played really well when he came to us, actually. I've got to say that. And, he did a job when he came to us. He was scoring goals. He had an influence, and that's why Dortmund purchased him. And out of curiosity, how have Dortmund been doing in the Bundesliga? Have they been winning it? Let's take a look at that. So, Dortmund's final position actually is really bad. 6th place going into this. Not what you're expecting to see from a team like Borussia Dortmund, especially with all that money they paid on Santi Mina. They splashed the cash in this series as well. That has to be said. I remember that we saw them splashing a load of money in one window. In terms of Ruben Blanco, though, I'm pretty sure he joined Everton. And in which case, we'll see what kind of impact he has had over there. Where is he? Ruben Blanco. There he is. Oh, no, sorry. He went to Burnley. Ah, got that wrong, didn't I? Why did I think he went to Everton? I'm not sure why I thought he went to Everton. Anyway, he went to Burnley. Obviously, an 85 rated goalkeeper. They splashed the cash, £50 million on him. We then decided to let him go for that money. He was a thumbnail player at one point as well. But I decided to let him go. And again, we're going to check and see just how Burnley finished, because it might have been a case that he might have helped them concede less goals, in which case might have given a good foundation to build upon and potentially get themselves into Europe. Of course, they did that in real life, just gone. Burnley, they finished 10th. So that's a respectable league position. Maybe, just maybe, Ruben Blanco helped in that 10th place position finish in order to keep them, give them some clean sheets. But with that, I think they're the only 2 real, mega signings that we sold from the team. There are other ones, Lobotka, obviously, and a few other guys. But for how we finished, this was the Champions League final starting 11 that brought home the Champions League in that 1-0 victory. Andrea Belotti, who had a somewhat quiet 3rd season for us, scored the winning penalty. He was good in the 2nd season. 3rd season, not so great. But somebody who was unbelievable, Pion Sisto. I can't say anything else other than that this guy was sensational. Great season. He scored 30 league goals in our final campaign here at Celta Vigo. He just bossed it, and that's all that can be said. Nabil Fekir was decent. As I said, a bit inconsistent at times. Somebody, though, who was sensational as well, Alexander Golovin. You guys know how much I love this guy. He was brilliant. Brilliant since we signed him. And I would quite happily have him back in another series as well. Ryan Sessegnon at left back. De Ligt in the centre back. Manolas as well. Hugo Mayo, unbelievable. Captain for the side. Servant. He was sensational throughout. And I couldn't really have done it without him, I don't think. Of course, Lopez there as well. In terms of the bench, Maxi Gomez, Marcus Rashford, Regis Crespi. I was excited for this kid, but he never featured. His growth somewhat halted recently. And that was down to the fact that I think maybe I put a bit too much pressure on him. But Andres Pereira was great as well since joining from Man United. Oops. Violin Cyprian, another player who joined us and was, again, decent. Didn't really send fireworks into me, but I think he did a good job. Gomez, Sergio Gomez that being. We got Marcus Alonso as well. One of the ones who I was a little bit underwhelmed with. Abel Ruiz, signed in Season 1. He was our 17-year-old superstar, I guess you could call it. He scored in his debut and continued to score. 96 finishing is what he stayed with, but then he never really got going, did he? And that was down to the fact that I think we had Andrea Belotti, Sisto, Gomez, better players pretty much. So, bit disappointing the fact that he never really made it here at the club. Xavier, though, this kid, he was one of the bright sparks. I did use him a couple of times in the series, but unfortunately with it coming to a close, he won't be really getting said too much about. Ruben Diaz as well at 82 rated. Decent servant to the club. Is there anybody else I've got to show you guys? Of course, we did have Oriol Busquets, but we let him go as part of a different deal. And that's another point as to why I'm going to be continuing whatever career mode we do next further and potentially joining other teams. Because people like Xavier would have become a star player for the future in this series if I was to continue it. But I'm going to decide to bring this to a close. So, of course, that is how the team looked. And in terms of our highest rated player at the club, it did actually go down in the end as Nabil Fekir and Andrea Belotti, both finishing at 88 rated. Manolas in there as well. Rashford in there. Paul Lopez, Alexander Golovin, Violin Cyprian, Pion Sisto. Yeah, we've got some crazy good players here. In terms of the most valued player at the club, though, I've got a feeling it's probably going to be Andrea Belotti. We'll have a look at that in a moment when I move all the way back up to the top. I've got a feeling it will be Andrea Belotti. Wait, it's not. It's actually Marcus Rashford. I suppose he is younger, so that's pretty much why. Andrea Belotti at 57, Fekir 56. So just in these guys alone, we could easily get £180 million for these guys, if not more. Golovin, sensational. So, you know, Sisto there, 30 million as well. His value should be much more than that because he was utterly, utterly brilliant. Look at these stats. Like, I want to show you the goals this season. Sisto, 30 league goals in 34 games, 10 assists as well. It's mind-blowing. Even Belotti, for that matter, hit 22 in 49. I said he didn't have a great season. Champions League, he did well. It's just the league. He didn't really get going. Rashford was good, 12 in 16 in the league as well. If he continued that right throughout, he would have been probably the top scorer. Andres Pereira was great. Nabil Fekir, as I said, inconsistent. But that pretty much sums it up, guys. That's how we finished. How many games did Regis Crespi play in this season? 16. Scoring 3. So not too bad as well. But that, guys, is the end of our Celta Vigo series. I'm now going to discuss what's to come next. So, if I show you, and I'll end off on the table, I guess, 90 points. We finished 14 points ahead of Barca. Supercopa, we won 5-1 against Atletico. So, we've beaten Atletico twice in major competitions, the Supercopa and the Champions League. But they did actually get the Copa de España for themselves, so that was decent as well. Copa Europe, not really bothered about that. Champions League, we obviously won it. We'll take a look at that. There it is, 1-0 win. Europa League was won by, I think I showed you this, but for me, I'm not 100% sure. Who was it won by? I'm going to wait for the screen to go, because if you don't know, guys, menus in this game are extremely long to load. Sevilla won it. There we go. So an all-Spanish domination in the Continental Cups. But for the next series then, the next career mode, I've given you guys a vote on the community section of the channel to vote for the league that you want to see. Whatever league it goes as, I'm going to be starting with a weaker side from that division, i.e. a side that maybe isn't as strong as when we came to Celta Vigo. So somebody that's like, you know, probably like a lower tier team, as in not necessarily relegation fighters, but certainly teams that aren't, you know, mid-table. They're sort of in that region of mid-table to relegation, sort of in the middle, like 15th, 16th, you could say they are. So that'll be the team that I pick, whichever league wins. From there, though, we'll go on. We'll try and make them, you know, the best team, I guess you could say, in Europe, by trying to win a Champions League, or at least get into a Champions League final, then we'll move clubs. We'll go to somewhere else. We'll go to like France or Italy or somewhere else, you know, in that same series. And then obviously when we're getting further in, the players that are currently in world football will start to decrease and we'll get more game-generated players, I guess you could say. So it's to kind of end off FIFA 18 because in many ways, this career mode that comes out next will be the last one before FIFA 18 closes into FIFA 19. So that's kind of why. So I don't know how many episodes we're going to have of that, but hopefully you guys will be entertained. So if you want to cast a vote, go over to the community section on the channel. You can vote for your league there. After the league has been chosen, I will then give you a vote of 2 teams to pick from, both of which will be chosen by me, and then you guys will make the decision on which one you want to see it more. But there's all that to come as well. So that will be starting somewhat probably in the next week or so, over the next week. I do have tomorrow, hopefully, a video coming out regarding the player career mode. Obviously, I said I'd make Ben a manager. I have done that, and I am trying to get the finishing touches done to that series. So then that way you can see how he stepped into management and how well he did. That will hopefully be coming out tomorrow. Of course, we still got the player career story as well to come. That will hopefully be out tomorrow, if not definitely the day after. I just, of course, need to put the finishing touches over that video. There's so much I've got to do and so much coming to the channel. Hopefully, you guys are excited. Road to Glory career mode as well. We're coming towards the end of that series. So, again, that's why I'm deciding to do a new career mode as well. That will replace this and that one in many ways. So, hopefully, you guys are excited for that. But that ends off our Celta Vigo series. Thank you so much for staying tuned over the last 3 seasons of this series. I know you guys enjoyed it. So did I as well to make it. It was a nice kind of step into it, you know. Because other than a Road to Glory career mode, I never really went to like a big team or a team that I could actually perform with. And with the slider settings as well, these are how they were set. I think we're going to go with the same slider settings. So if I do pick a team and it's not necessarily the best team in that particular league or whatever, it could be quite interesting. We might smash quite a possibility. We might get smashed in the first season quite a few times. So yeah, I'm interested to see how that's going to go anyways. But that's it from me for this series, guys. That's it from me for today. Make sure you do cast your vote in the community section of the channel. And I'm intrigued to see which team gets, which league gets picked and then which team gets picked. Because whatever I do, we're in for a fun ride, I think. And it should be quite interesting. But that's it anyway, guys. I'll see you all again from 4 PM tomorrow for yet another video. Catch you all then. Adios.